Hello everyone, my name is Nikki and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my bullet journal video for April. As you guys voted for, we are doing a April showers theme this month and I am very excited. My inspiration came from basically the weather at the minute. It's very rainy in the UK and very grey, but also I love to be wrapped up all cozy and warm inside and look out windows at the rain. That's one of my favorite pastimes. So I took inspiration from a couple photos on my Instagram and basically just try to draw myself in those positions in this journal and think about what would I see looking out of the windows and replicate that in the journal. So if you would like to see some of the photos that I was inspired by or any other inspirations, I have a list of links in the description down below for you guys to check out if you're interested. I also thought that this would be a really good time to switch up a few things in my bullet journal because I felt that it started to become a little bit repetitive. That's why I shifted around the placement of a few things and went for some new concepts that I'm quite excited to try. For example, I'm now doing the calendar for April on the first introduction page where usually I do a nice drawing with the name of the month. So that's something that's a little bit different. I'm using my uni pen fine liners in like 0.5 millimeters and 0.2 millimeters, all in the color black. And I'm just sketching out some houses, trying to make it look all rough, but also a little bit rustic throughout the journal. Also recently, quite a few of you guys have taken inspiration from some of my bullet journal spreads and you've recreated some of them and tagged me in them. And it honestly makes my heart swell. And I'm so happy to see your recreations and actually talk to you guys and see your photos. So if you do end up recreating something from my YouTube channel or a bullet journal spread of mine, then do feel free to tag me in any pictures that you post or DM me some. I have two Instagram accounts. One's my main, which is _lum as a cool underscore, and then I have my bullet journal account, which is expressive journal. All of my links and ads for social media are also in the description down below. Something new that I'm also trying for this bullet journal is to not use any rulers, which is quite new for me, and I always like my lines to be very sharp, and I often use a lot of boxes in my journals. If you've seen a few of them, you'll recognize that trend. So it's definitely a new experience, but I think it's something that you should actually try out. So please do excuse my horrendous wobbly lines. I'm doing my best, but again, I feel that it adds to the rustic sense. Also, you can see a little page marker at the top. It's from Pango, and I actually got it in a recent stationery haul of mine. I think it's so cute and very fitting for the whole theme of April showers. You'll also see a lot of clouds as well in this journal too. Throughout this spread, you'll see me using my usual equipment as well. Just uni pen fine liners. I also decided to add a little extra color and depth by using a light gray uni pen fine liner. Then also for the rain, I'm using some Tombow brush pens in a light cool gray and a slightly darker cool gray. Unfortunately, the rain lines weren't as straight as I wanted them to be, but still, I think it looks cute and I'm going along with this theme. Now moving on to the first proper page of my bullet journal spread. Here I am writing down my goals and my plans, and this is very different because usually I have space for 5 goals to write down underneath my calendar. On the next page, I have my plans and tasks. This is slightly different, so I just use my Tombow brush pen to do a little background, and then I stamped in black goals and plans on top of there. And then for the background, I'm just drawing some raindrops and the little puddles and the ripples in the water. I'm trying to make the raindrops in little dashed dotted lines. I accidentally went the wrong way on the left page, but let's ignore that. I'm also playing around with different sizes as well, and then I'm darkening it up with the slightly darker grey Tombow brush pen as well, and then using a uni pen fine liner that's quite small and a light grey to also add a little bit extra detail. There I've just got a lot of open space to plan and actually think through all of my tasks and plans, but also shift up the design a little bit. Moving on, we have my next double page spread, which is my tracker spread. Now, if you've seen some of my bullet journals before, you will know that I track how much water I'm drinking, and also I have a mood tracker, and that's consistent through every single month. But this month I decided to shake it up a little bit with the design, as I felt it was becoming a little bit repetitive, even though I do like to shake up the design of my mood tracker. So I thought to keep this cohesive theme of buildings and rain, but also my water tracker being involved with water, I would draw this little city landscape, as you can see here, and then I put my water tracker at the top and my mood tracker sort of hidden within the buildings. The idea is for my mood tracker that I will leave some of these windows just blank with very minimal detail, and then I can color them in depending on my mood. So it looks like, for example, if a light's turned on within a building, I'd be in a really good mood, or if it's blank or if it's dark, then I would be in a little bit of a more bad mood, for example. And then the water tracker tracker sort of keeps that cohesive theme of the rain. It's at the top of the page, and as you can see, I just penciled down a line with a dot for every single day of the month. And the idea is that for every single glass of water that I drink, I will then draw a line going downwards, 1 block per glass. So if I drink the recommended 8 glasses of water per day, then I'd have a line that goes down by 8 blocks. If I drink 2 glasses that day, then I'll have a line that goes down 2 blocks. And then it's supposed to look like basically rain falling onto the city landscape down below. Though I am getting better with my water drinking tendencies, it does tend to be a bit sporadic, so I am presuming that the raindrops will be at all sorts of different levels throughout this month. Though I will use this moment to remind you guys to stay hydrated, drink as much water as you can, be healthy, eat plenty, and take care of yourself. For the buildings that I'm drawing, I'm using my Unipin fine liners in 0.2 and 0.5 millimeters, all in black, and I'm trying to keep them looking very sketch-like with a lot of line work, and I'm also trying to create that depth that I love to keep consistent throughout all of my art in the bullet journals by putting all the buildings at angles, trying to maintain it that way. The drawings don't necessarily have to be very neat. Again, it's sort of like a rough artwork sketch, and I really do love the way that this looks. I'm also trying to play around with different shadows. There's a beauty in it. I'm planning on making a video for next Saturday where I will be doing a little teaser taster of the options for next month's theme. I'm planning on designing one page of the bullet journal spread and all the different themes so you guys can perhaps make a little better decision. You guys can actually see what they'll look like. But anyway, we're now moving on to creating that water tracker. So I'm using a very small Unipin fine liner just to mark out all of the days. I'm not going to actually draw the line, so it should look quite well integrated, and I hope that this turns out very well. I'm also using this 0.5 millimeter Unipin fine liner just to add some buildings and extra details in the background to add that sense of depth again. Next, we'll be moving on to the next double page spread, which includes my expenses tracker and also my YouTube and Instagram, basically my social media plan. I'm beginning my expenses tracker by drawing out roughly this box that I will keep all of my notes in it, and then I'm drawing the background of the banner in a Tombow brush pen in grey, then I'm stamping the word expenses on top of that. Next, I'm moving on to doing the decorations for the page, the falling rain, and I'm trying to keep them in uniform lines, all falling in the same direction. And then I drew some of the ripples in the puddles on the floor right at the bottom there, using another Tombow brush pen in a slightly darker color, just to darken up and add some depth into the design, and then also added some darker raindrops in the mix. Moving on to my social media tracker, I just drew a very rough box for my YouTube planner with the YouTube play button at the top there. And next, I'm doing a YouTube posting tracker and an Instagram posting tracker at the bottom there. So I basically drew out a little calendar of the month with the days Monday through to Sunday, drew a line, and then had all of the days of the month there. I added YouTube posting and then IG posting as the headers, and then next to it had a plan so I can jot down any ideas that I have. Next, I just highlighted a couple key points and key dates there, just the one actually. And then I wrote subs and views so I can keep a log of how many subscribers and views I have at the beginning of the month and the end of the month, just so I can track my growth, etc, etc. And I continued the rain pattern design on that page. It's quite simplistic. I wouldn't say minimalistic, but heading there. I wanted to keep it sort of consistent, but also not to take away from the houses and the streets. For the basic layout of my homework tracker, I drew a big box which is separated into 3 parts, one for each of my subjects, French, chemistry, and biology. Then I have a middle section where I write down the task. The final section, I'll write down the due date, and then I have a box to check once it's done. Then on the following page, I have my revision plan, which is a long box, kind of similar to the layout that I have used for the past few months, where I have the topic and a checklist, check mark, for when I'm done. And then I've got upcoming tests at the bottom, so I can write down all of the tests that are coming up, so I know what to prioritize for revision, and I can have a clear view and idea of what's coming up, so I won't have any nasty surprises and I can be well prepared. I'm also continuing with adding those water droplets and the splashes in the puddles. I really like it. I think it's quite cute. And then I'm also using the darker Tombow brush pen just to darken up a couple of the splashes and also the rain droplets falling from the sky. Next in this month's spread, we have a completely new feature which I've added, and this is a travel planning page because, surprise, I'm going to Paris. It was a little bit of a last minute decision. Basically, we have a trip to Paris as part of the French course, and somebody dropped out last minute and I managed to get their place. So unexpectedly now I'm going to be going to Paris this month in April, and I'm very, very excited. So I decided to add this little planning page where I've got a place where I'm going to keep record of all the travel that we'll be doing. So how we're going to be getting around, all the times, the prices, etc., ticket numbers, places to go. To do is like all the places that we're going to visit, ideas of what we should do there, and then packing, just a big space for a packing list and a checklist. So when I'm leaving, I can write down absolutely everything I have with me. And then when at Paris, I can check that I've got everything there. And then before I leave, I can check my packing list to make sure I don't accidentally leave anything. And it's just a really good way to ensure that you have absolutely everything that you need. And this picture that I drew of the girl, that is actually me. It's taken from a photo on my Instagram. You can find it there, _llamasacool_. And basically I used some Unipin fine liners and Tombow brush pens. And now finally we have reached the beginning of my day-by-day diary entry section. So on the left side of the page, we have a little doodle again of me looking out of a window out onto the rainy street. It's taken from my Instagram. You can find that at the link provided down below in the description. And then on the right page, we have a little calendar, and I will be stamping the word April there. Just a little overview of the month. I can circle any dates, for example, the days that I'm going to Paris, upload days, anything important, just so I can look at the month as a glance. And then also the very nice accompanying picture just to tie in the theme of the rain, the clouds, and the buildings. But also I really love to draw figures, and people have lots of different arty elements, and I think that this fit very well. The style of drawing that I incorporated to draw these characters is very different to what I'd normally do. I'd call these line drawings because they're not as detailed as I would usually do. But anyway, just to add that extra depth, shading, shadow, and make it look a little bit more 3D, I use my Tombow brush pen in this light grey and slightly dark grey just to colour in some spaces where I'm wearing denim, I have some slightly darker clothes, and also on the window around me, so around where I'm sat, on my bag as well, just to create some shadows and make it look a little bit more realistic. I also added some details such as roofing, the tiles, also some brickwork and details in windows, and I continued with the same method for drawing the raindrops outside, trying to make it look as realistic and cohesive as possible. Also going in to add a few darker coloured raindrops with my slightly darker Tombow brush pen. For the calendar section, I'm just circling some important dates for me to remember, and now we're moving on to my day-by-day diary section. I decided to do this a little bit differently, and I'm actually spreading this out across 2 pages instead of just the one, because I wanted to make it a lot more detailed and practice with something that I haven't really done before. So this whole layout is very new and very different. To start with this spread, I drew a little calendar in the top left corner with Monday through to Sunday and then all the days of the month. I stamped the month April above that, and then I drew a long box with the word to do stamped in there too. Then I basically have a little box for every single day of the week, no rulers used or hand drawn, and then at the bottom of the following page I have another long box for next week. And the idea here is that for every single day of the week I have a box where I can write down plans and to-do lists, because I really like the layout of the spread that I used last month, and this will encourage me more to write down to-do lists in my bullet journal, and then it gives me that space to plan for the following week as well. I prefer to have the Saturday and Sunday boxes separate because I had the weekend all in one box together last month, and I'm really excited because here I can just write down to-do lists, do a lot more planning, and I feel like this will help me be a lot more productive. I was really concerned about conserving space in my previous spreads, but now I'm being a little bit more liberal with it and having fun with designing these new spreads. And now we're done for the spread. So here is my flip through, and we're beginning with the introduction and calendar page to introduce and welcome April. Then following that, we have a very new style double page spread for my goals and my plans. Again, simplistic all along the monochrome color scheme with these raindrops falling from the sky. And after that we have my 2 trackers, one for mood and one for my water intake. It's sort of integrated into each other with a lot of interesting new design elements. I'm very happy with the way that this turned out, and I'm very excited for the whole new scheme and theme that I'm going to be using. After that, we have my expenses tracker, just a big page where I can write down and jot down anything I'm spending my money on and plan what I need. Also my social media tracker, where I'm tracking my growth on YouTube, my YouTube posting and Instagram posting. Following that, we then have my school double page spread. One page for homework for each of my classes, and then one page where I can track, log, and plan out revision. Then after that, we have a new spread, which is my travel spread, all especially for my trip to France in April. I have a space for where we're going to go, how we're going to get there, all the things to do, and a packing list. Moving on, we then have the beginning of my day-by-day diary section with a little doodle of me sat by a window looking at the rain, and then a little calendar where I can jot down any of the important dates and circle them so they stand out. After that, we have the first page of my weekly diary section where I can write down all of my plans, to-do lists, and basically have a very productive time planning out and jotting down all of my key memories and important dates, etc. for that week of the month. Now for everything that I used. My bullet journal is a Le Mans journal. I also used 2 Tombow brush pens, one in light grey and one in this warm medium grey. Then I used 3 different types of Unipen fine liners, all in 0.5mm and 0.2mm, black, dark grey and light grey. I also used some alphabet stamps and black ink. Very simplistic, and I always use these supplies on almost every single bullet journal of mine recently. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget that you can subscribe and press the bell to receive notifications for when I post new videos. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't like the video, you can give it a thumbs down. I don't mind, but I hope to see you next Saturday. Bye!